Yes, hello everyone and welcome to all our West Australian football fans to another edition of Around the WAFL. We are heading into round 6 and all 10 teams are back in action for an exciting weekend of WAFL football. 4 games on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, and we're here to preview all games for you today on your go-to WAFL podcast for 2024. You can check us out on YouTube and where you get your podcast. Paul Persick alongside Ethan Roth. Rothy, what a weekend it's going to be. This one could be make or break for some of the teams early in the season.
It will be, yeah. A couple of teams that need to, draw back the positive. Will try to draw back the positive win-loss ratio, so they'll be aiming to do that.
And with, of course, only a couple of wins separating the final 5 at the present time, it could be a vital weekend, of course. So we're going to chat with Jackson McDonald, the young gun from East Fremantle, who kicked the winning goal against Swan Districts last Sunday, and, of course, is going to be in for a big game against the Lions. We'll also preview all 5 games that are taking place this weekend and offer our tips as well. And, of course, much more on today's edition of Around the WAFL. But first, here's how you can win big.
Punt from 50, win. Little too into the game, win. Too cocky, almost a win. Risking it all for the glory, win. It's win-win at the WAFL. Great footy, food and entertainment. Find out more at waffle.com.au.
Get down to the WAFL, support your team. You do not want to miss any of the action in round 6, including this massive game between Subiaco and East Fremantle. Crunch game for both teams. And joining us today is our special guest, the man who kicked that goal after the siren from the McDonald stand at Bassendean, with the commentator being Darren McDonald. It was sort of a McDonald moment. But joining us is Jackson McDonald, East Fremantle young gun here on Around the WAFL. Jackson, welcome along, mate.
G'day, lads. How you going?
Going very well. Great to have you on the show. First of all, let's go back to last Sunday afternoon. What were your thoughts? What was going through your mind when you were going to kick that winning goal from just on the 50?
Not too much was going through my mind, to be honest. I think the first thing, I looked to handball it to Lingers, and then obviously he told me not, and I've walked back to have the shot, thinking the siren was going to go, and it did go. I was a little bit nervous, but I think the adrenaline kicked in. Vasquez was there and told me he loved me no matter what happened. So just walked back, went through my routine, and kind of just blocked everything out and tried to embrace the moment, and luckily kicked it straight.
Every kid dreams of that opportunity. I mean, what have the last few days been for you like? I mean, you're an instant hero. No one's probably going to ever forget you. Plenty of messages, I'm assuming.
Yeah, definitely. The phone's blown up, so I haven't really known what to do with it all. Especially Instagram, Facebook kept getting tagged in the videos. I've probably seen it 100 times. But just trying to embrace it, and childhood dream. So loving it.
No, it was a huge moment. It was a huge moment, and no doubt a big moment in WAFL history. But of course, let's go now to the present. Of course, big game coming up against Subiaco, and you've had the wood over the Lions in recent times. You've had victories in the last 4 attempts, and no doubt Subiaco, of course, with Greg Clark, Lee Kitchen, Jack Mayo providing some good value for the Lions. It's going to be a real tough game.
Yeah, definitely. I think, they've got a pretty strong midfield, and so do we. I think every time we played them or I've played them, the battle's been won and lost in there. So they're a strong team, and we expect none less this week coming.
And how important is it to get off the mark? You know, you're on 4 points now. How important is that, moving forward to really set up your season from here?
Yeah, massive. Not really the start that we wanted. We've been competitive at stages, but just haven't done it for long enough. I think we know what we can do, and we've just been building towards that, trying to block out the external noise. And it was good to get a win on the board. Not the way we wanted to do it, but I think we're building, and we know we've got the talent. So it's just about putting the work in. I think the last 2 weeks on the track have been massive, and we're all building towards it. So hopefully just keep the wins coming.
It was a welcome debut as well for Jared Jansen. I thought, given his first league game, he was very impressive, created impact when he got the ball in his hand. What's it like to play alongside him, and also some of the premiership players from last year as well over at East Fremantle, the likes of Milan Murdoch, the 2 experienced backmen in Cam Erdley and Matty Jupp. What's it like playing alongside them?
Yeah, massive. Cam was huge. His first game back, especially in that last quarter, as well as Jansen, who you mentioned, had played a very big role, had a huge impact. And then Buddha, I thought he was outstanding on the weekend. He got tagged and was copping it quite a bit, but he's just the type of player who works through that. And I think it was the same first gamer. It might have been Cripper. Cripper's been working at it for a while now, and we all see what he can do. So, yeah, everyone loved running out with him on the weekend. Yeah, we've got heaps of talent across the field. Everyone can stand up in big moments too, which we saw on the weekend, which was, it's great to see.
And, under pressure in the last term, taking nothing away from your goal after the siren, but how do you address, I guess, the last quarter and not, having those lapses and, being able to play a 4-quarter game, as you said?
It's like, I don't know, it doesn't, the scoreboard crosses your mind a little bit, but we were quite a bit behind, so I think it was just about trying to take a few more risks, and then we kept grinding away and then kept chipping away at it, and the closer it got, felt like we were getting more of a roll and people were stepping up and having big moments. It was just a great win. It was probably the best comeback win I've been a part of. Very exciting.
Well, it could set up your season, and of course it could mean a big run for the East Fremantle Sharks in their premiership defence, and it could start all over again with a win against Subiaco. What a game that is going to be at Sullivan Logistics Stadium. Good luck to you, Jackson, and the Sharks. All the very best, and thanks very much for your time here on Around the WAFL.
Thanks, lads. Thanks for having me.
That was Jackson McDonald, Clutch, I think we can call him as his middle name, kicking that goal after the siren against Swan Districts, and a very good young gun. He's got a lot of potential as one of the keys for East Fremantle this season.
His name's really been put on the map in WAFL circles, hasn't it? Phone blowing up, as he said. So, yeah, the pressure might be on him now to kick, goals reliable whenever they need him, considering how well he handled that moment.
Yeah, and his mindset, was so important as well. Not a lot of things crossed his mind, as he said, and credit to him, he thrived under that pressure, in a hostile environment as well. He got the Canberra as the 19th man, giving him heaps, but he lived up to the moment. And shouted as well to another McDonald just quickly, Darren McDonald. I sat in the box next to him, he called the game. He lost his voice and battled the flu, and he got through that moment. That is absolutely incredible. Shout out to you, Daz. That was incredible.
Yeah, not many people can do that, let alone in those circumstances. So, yeah, as you said, the McDonald stand, the McDonald commentator, and the McDonald goal kicker. It's you can't really script those sort of things, can you?
It's a bit like the Wayne's World Dream sequence.
Yeah.
It was absolutely unbelievable. What a moment that was, and of course, a big win for East Fremantle. But now, first off, we're going to preview, of course, the round 6 games. Before we do that, Waffle Wonderland is back this weekend, and it's heading to Mandurah.
Get to Waffle Wonderland to watch Peel Thunder against West Perth at Lane Group Stadium in Mandurah from 1:30 this Saturday. It's Waffle Footy with a wonderland of food trucks, giveaways, DJ and kids activities. Tickets at waffle.com.au.
I'll tell you what, that is going to be huge. Waffle Wonderland's first trip south of the river to Mandurah, Lane Group Stadium. The atmosphere there is going to be absolutely electric. But now it's time to preview the round 6 games, and we're going to start things off with a crunch one on Saturday at 2:10 p.m. This one's going to be a beauty. Subiaco taking on East Fremantle at Sullivan Logistics Stadium at 2:10 p.m. live on the AFL app. And I'll tell you this one, as Jackson said, this battle is going to be won through the midfield. It's going to be a midfield battle to see who's going to get those centre clearances, who's going to be more efficient from the centre and provide that midfield supply. That's the battle that could be the decisive factor in this game come Saturday.
And looking at the last 5 matches, as you said, East Fremantle do have the wood over the line. So, it's shaping up to be a beauty, this one.
And it's all by big margins as well, over 4 goals. So East Fremantle, getting a good edge over the lines. But what's going to be a really important factor in this one is going to be that battle, I reckon, between Clark and Murdoch, the 2 number 1s. I reckon they could be matched up on the ball. And that one is going to be a real scintillating battle between 2 of the best in the game.
Yeah, Clark's a bigger body, but Murdoch gets in and under. So I reckon they'll sort of test each other out, both strengths and weaknesses. But, yeah, I think the loser of this one could really face the Heat. I think it's, there's talk of an 8-point point game. I think this could potentially be one of those.
It could be one of those, and it could go either way as well. Both are very evenly matched. A couple of questions on both sides as well. Who's going to fill in that void up forward? Still questions on East Fremantle from that point of view, with John O'Marsh missing a further 4 weeks. Of course, he won't play for a further few weeks with that hamstring injury he sustained before the match against the West Coast Eagles. And also, of course, Harry Marsh was still awaiting his return as well. And also a couple of other players as well that have been missing in action. So who's going to fill in that void up forward? That's going to be answered. Subiaco, if they get Ben Sokol back, that's going to be huge because he was missing a lot in that game against Claremont. Didn't play, and Jack Mayo was left to carry that load up forward. So if Sokol comes back, that's going to be some valuable backup for Jack Mayo up forward.
It'll be a weight off his shoulders. And yeah, Mayo's been carrying the load. He's just been quite simply sensational.
No doubt about it, but no doubt it's going to be a big game. If Mayo doesn't get Sokol back as a backup, it's going to be another heavy load again against two of the best defenders in the competition, Cameron Erdley and Matty Jupp, who can shut down any forward line on any given day.
And it'll put pressure on the Subiaco midfielders to kick goals. I know they've been pretty good so far. Your Foleys and your Clarks hitting the scoreboard, but even more so. And that'll probably potentially take away from their defensive side of the thing. So it all sort of correlates based on that Sokol, decision or if he's going to come back or not.
Well, both sides have got pretty good goal-kicking mids. There's no doubt about that. I mean, Murdoch can go in and kick a couple of goals. Fraser Turner as well. He had a decent game against Swan Districts last weekend. He can kick a couple of goals on any given day. So they've both got good goal-kicking mids, but again, it's that centre clearance battle that's going to be the decisive factor in this game. And a hard one to pick a winner because, looking at some of the team stats, they've both been accurate in front of goal, 61 to 54%, but also even in the disposals, kicks, handballs, the marks, the only breaker in favour of East Fremantle, 82 to 67. I reckon that additional marking prowess that East Fremantle bring through the likes of Bryn Teakle and company, that could be the decisive factor in that game as well, along with the centre clearance battle. Subiaco, where are their marking players going to come from up forward if Sokol doesn't play and Jack Mayo's off his game?
Yeah, spot on there. You need others to step up. So, I know, Campbell Henderson made his debut. Didn't actually look too out of place.
No.
So, he could potentially be a player, but you don't want to sort of put the pressure on him too much.
No, you're exactly right. You want him to just play his natural game, play his role, but of course, with that added pressure, not just from the East Fremantle backline, it's going to provide a huge challenge. Massive game, this one on Saturday. Who wins?
I think Subiaco have to back them in, back at home.
At home, always very tough. They'll be fresh, but I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to say East Fremantle. That win last week, I reckon, can make their season, but they've got to prove that they can get on a good run, and that'll start against Subiaco. So the Sharks for me on that one. What a game that one's going to be over at Sullivan Logistics Stadium. Let's go to the second game, and what a beauty this one's going to be. Peel Thunder and West Perth from Lane Group Stadium in Mandurah at 2:10. You can see that game live on Channel 7. It's going to be an absolute ripper. Peel Thunder, fresh off the bye. West Perth, they got to get it together after their second straight loss.
Must generate more run.
No doubt.
They make the big trip down to Mandurah. So, yes, that'll be a challenge for them south of the river. But, it's clash of first versus fourth in Mandurah. So, it's set to be a beauty. I think they've got a good rivalry they got going on.
Yeah, it's a good little one. Of course, the northest team up against the most southern team in the competition based on, where they are from the CBD. But West Perth have got a pretty good record against Peel Thunder. They've won 4 of the last 5. So they have a couple of good games against Peel Thunder. Last time they met was an 8-point win for West Perth. They came back from behind to win that game and keep their final hopes alive. But that's going to be such an important battle, Who's going to generate more run, West Perth or Peel Thunder? West Perth have got to do so because if their experienced players are being shut down, who's going to step up? You've got Griffith, Julian and Connor West who had decent games, so the added pressure is going to be on them.
It will be. And, looking at the last 4 games, Peel Thunder and West Perth, the game hasn't been decided by more than 10 points. So it's always a close encounter.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's a real absorbing rivalry that these teams have developed, West Perth and Peel Thunder, and it's not bad if the rivalry gets a little bit spicy, a few bit of argy-bargy moments there, but no doubt this one's certainly going to add to the spice of what's already an exciting round. Peel Thunder, they've got some tremendous depth everywhere, regardless of where Fremantle select their players, which Peel Thunder players go to Fremantle and back again. The continuity that they have got is absolutely incredible. That's why they're in the top step of the ladder.
Yeah, and we said last week, the youngsters coming through, your Tregenzas, Wyberts, these guys, Blight, they're really, establishing themselves quickly at WAFL level.
Especially Jacob Blight. I've been very impressed with him. His work rate down back has been absolutely incredible. I mean, I did his game against East Perth, and he took the forwards right out of the game with his marking prowess and his running carry off half-back. Absolutely impressive. So if the West Perth forwards haven't got two eyes at the back of their head for Jacob Blight, then Blight is going to, have their way with the West Perth forwards.
Yeah, I think you'd expect him to probably go to Cartel, and then the Scaife one's an interesting one. He probably has to fire up again, but then who goes to him from Peel Thunder?
Yeah, exactly. Who goes to him? Who's going to go to Scaife? Who's going to go to Keitel if Blight's not, if Blight's not having a good game? So that's the only question that could arise from Peel Thunder. But you're looking at their midfield: Liam Reedy, Will Brodie, Heath Chapman. They've been impressive, seeing plenty of the football and creating such a positive impact.
Yeah, and I think Hugh Davies potentially, obviously, it'll come out or won't come out, but he might be making his debut for Fremantle, so that could be a hole that they have to fill in the back half.
What about Nathan Wilson and Neil Erasmus as well? A lot of questions about them as well.
Yeah, I mean, Wilson's obviously not on the Dockers list anymore, so he'll be there. But Erasmus, he's sort of in and out, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's hard to really predict where he's going to play. And
I reckon if Erasmus does play for Peel Thunder against West Perth, that could mean a major difference for Peel Thunder in their favour.
He'll have a field day. He just does. He racks it up at WAFL level.
Well, in his last WAFL game a few weeks ago, he had 36 disposals and won them the game.
Yeah, someone probably needs to give him a bit more attention.
I would think so. But it's going to be a ripping game, no doubt about it. A couple of the team stats looking at this, inside 50 efficiencies a little bit off for both teams. Disposals per goal 28 to 25 in Peel Thunder's favour. Peel Thunder 92 to 79 in the marks as well, and also the hitouts 50 to 41. That's off the back of Liam Reedy's great work. But also when you're looking at talking about the battle with Liam Reedy in the ruck, along with Brock Carter of West Perth, I reckon that battle is going to go a long way into determining this game. Brock Carter, really good at the hit-outs to advantage, just needs to develop his follow-up work a little bit more, and I think his battle with Liam Reedy is going to provide a good learning experience for Brock.
It will, yeah. I mean, all ruckmen that have come up against Reedy have probably gone away and taken a thing or two from it. So, yeah, I mean, that's the next thing for young ruckmen coming through, apart from the obvious tat work, marking around the ground, follow-up work, ability to hit the scoreboard, as we see with these seasoned veterans of the WAFL or, guys like Ollie Eastland, Liam Reedy. They really set the tone in all facets of the game.
Who wins?
I think it's a tough one. There's a part of me that says West Perth are going to bounce back. I think Peel Thunder, though.
Peel Thunder at home?
The recent record, I think, yeah, they might take advantage of the fact that West Perth have got the wood over them, and they'll motivate them even more. So.
I'll say Peel Thunder as well. I'm going to go Thunder at home. Only by about 3 goals. I reckon it'll be a great contest over there at Lane Group Stadium in Mandurah. Peel Thunder and West Perth should be a beauty. This third game on Saturday, very, very interesting, this one, to see where the sides are truly at. Claremont and Swan Districts at Rebo Fitness Stadium at 2:30. I'm going to be on the call for this one. Can't wait for it. It's going to be a beauty. Claremont, they've had the wood over Swan Districts in the last four of the last 5 matches, but both at 1 and 3. It's going to be an interesting game to see, to get a real good understanding of where the sides are going to be at this season.
Yeah, I mean, I can't bring it up continuously, but I mean, that game that they lost against
should have won that, should have they?
Should have won, to say the least.
I mean, how they blew a 21-point lead is beyond me, with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, but yeah, I think the winner of this one gets back on track. The difference between 2 and 3 as opposed to 1 and 4, it's massive. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still see something in Claremont. I don't know if it's just their recent years or them being at home, but I don't know. I still see a glimmer of hope for Claremont.
Because, there's something with the Tigers that, really makes them a good fighting side. But at the same time, 1 and 3, there's something that's just not right. Is it, the senior players not being able to step up? Is it the younger players not sharing the workload? At 1 and 3, that's pretty much un-Claremont-like. I mean, when you look at their performance, okay, they've lost a couple of close games. They did have a good win against Subiaco 2 weeks ago. But I think they'll still look back on the 90-point hammering that they suffered against East Fremantle. They'll look at that and make sure that they don't want a repeat of it.
When they click together, I think they're still a very, very competitive side. So it's just a matter of doing that on a more consistent and regular basis. And
especially against the Swan District side, who can play good football for 3 quarters, but when the game is in the balance, doubts begin to creep in. Mistakes are made. They turn it over so frequently, especially in the back half against East Fremantle, and it just creates problems and panic in that Swans side. So they've got to find a way to avert that, if the game's in the balance against Claremont with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, and who's going to match up on Lee Coleman? That's another probably interesting thing. I know Claremont have been a bit undermanned when it comes to key position players in their back half.
Well, Declan Mountford should come back. Declan Mountford should come back to the side after suffering an injury just a couple of weeks ago, so that could be a valuable boost for the Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, he's more of a midfielder, though. He's not a key defender, so he's a midfielder. So I think that helps their midfield depth. But in terms of going on Lee Coleman, I'm not sure.
Declan Hardesty?
Yeah, Declan Hardesty.
He's their number one backman.
Yeah.
He's their number one backman that can shut down, any key forward. And if he gets the direct job on Lee Coleman, that's going to make Coleman's day a little bit difficult because, Declan Hardesty, really prominent defender.
Yeah, he is. Probably flies under the radar a little bit, but interesting to see how the ruck battle goes because Easton's dominance just seems unmatched. It's just through the roof at the moment.
Best ruckman in the competition. I mean, we've sung his praises across the season so far, and so have many, and rightfully so. So this battle, I reckon, could be definitive in the grand scheme of things with this particular contest because if Oliver Eastland gets on a tear in the ruck and gets that follow-up work going, that's going to generate so much supply from midfield into that forward zone.
He's almost a barometer for them. I mean, I know he still plays well when they haven't won, but it's almost like if Eastland dominates, they're almost on the track to win the game.
What's also going to be key is the battle between the Rogers and Turner. I reckon those two could be directly matched, and especially with Turner setting it up for Swan Districts, they play so direct. They often use the corridor brilliantly. Claremont, they like to work it around the ground, across the ground, towards the wings. So it's two contrasting styles of play matching up against each other. It's going to be interesting to see who is the more efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll be there for that game.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, look forward to tuning in. I think Claremont win.
You think Claremont win? Tough game. This is a tough game because with both sides 1 and 3, both sides possessing plenty of depth, I'm putting the blowtorch on the Swans, and I expect them to win.
Okay, they'll bounce back.
Bold call, but they need to bounce back.
Fire in their belly.
They need to get that fire in their belly. They've got the depth, but if the game's in the balance with 10 minutes to go, they need to sow the seeds of doubt, if you like, and get it all together. Claremont, who knows where they're at the moment? 1 and 3, they had a couple of players out through injury, and they just weren't gelling in those 4 weeks. Okay, the win against Subiaco spurred them on a little bit more, but 1 and 3 ain't always easy to come back from and get into the 5. But Swan Districts, they've got to have the fire in their belly. I'm saying the Swans, you're saying the Tigers. But what a contest it is going to be on Saturday. And the final Saturday game of round 6, it is South Fremantle taking on Perth at 2:30 at Fremantle Oval. This one too is pretty interesting because both sides have had a couple of close games. They had 2 thrillers last year. Of course, Perth getting the job done in round 7. South Fremantle just getting over the line in round 14. South Fremantle rejuvenated after that win over West Perth, 3 straight wins. Perth coming off a difficult outing against East Perth, but they'll look the fresher side. They're coming off a 9-day turnaround.
Yeah, can the Bulldogs maintain the edge? 4 on the trot would be lovely.
Oh, it would.
You'd be a luxury to have that. So, it's going to be, I guess, a clearance game. Control inside forward 50 for both sides. So, there's some questions on, I guess, both sides. I really think it's going to be an even matchup. Another question is who covers for Charlie Constable?
Yeah, Charlie Constable, of course, expected to miss a bulk of the season with syndesmosis after that ankle injury against East Perth. I think, the likes of maybe Cooley could cover for him. He sees plenty of the football, but how much impact can he create? And you get that backup from the likes of Corey Byrne, Charlie Thompson, of course, another interstate recruit who's had a good season, and Jacob Caniglio, who plays in midfield and a little bit down back as well. So if you have them, who's going to cover down back as well? Austin Davies, again, he's going to play that number 1 role. Yeah,
absolutely. And, then Sam Simpson, another one who probably might spend a little bit of midfield time. But, I think it's not only how they cover him, but it's how they cover his position. He's a big-bodied midfielder who does a lot of the dirty work, gets clearances. So, potentially a Simpson or someone from the outside might have to spend more time inside. And I don't know how that's going to affect the rest of their role because, you don't want to be taking away Simpson's speed, for instance. So, it really affects the whole team.
What about South Fremantle as well? Expect Hayden Schleuf to tear it up. That's an obvious one. He's going to be, again, that number 1 midfielder. Jake Florenka, of course, a little bit of precaution with that hamstring. He might be out of the game on Saturday, but I think the depth of South Fremantle's midfield is greater than what Perth have got. Perth is still trying to settle in and get in the groove. South Fremantle, they've got good continuity. Tom Bledgerton continuously firing up, but also some of the younger talent as well. I mean, Isaiah Winder is a real revelation. He's a good goal-kicking mid. Kicked a vital goal against West Perth last weekend, took 4 good marks and laid 4 good tackles. So his impact around the ball is going to be so important for South Fremantle, accompanying the experience of the likes of Schloith, Bledgerton and even Matty Parker.
Yeah, and as well as Ashton Ferreira, he kicked an nice goal from 50. So yeah, the depth is they got a lot of point of difference. You know, outside speed, inside ball winning. I agree with you about them having a bit more depth than Perth.
But also up forward, I think Perth can again rely on Harry Quartermain. 4 goals. He had a really good outing, only had the 8 touches, but took 7 brilliant marks. But the question is, my other concern for Perth is who's going to back up Harry Quartermain. They've still got holes up forward that they cannot fill at the moment.
I mean, you got Aaron Clark, but he's another guy who he's had an impressive start to the season. So yes, I agree. I think
and Sam Stubbs up forward, he's been limited and can play a little bit of midfield as well. But I reckon you'd need him up forward.
Yeah, I think potentially someone you'd rather an even spread of 2 goals each or somewhere around that rather than one person kicking a bag and no one else. So I think that's the challenge for Perth.
Who wins? It's going to be a really interesting game over there at the Port.
I'm tipping South Fremantle for 4 on the trot.
I'm going to go South Fremantle as well, 4 on the trot. Hopefully another close game after the 2 thrillers they had last year. So maybe by about a goal or 2, but the Bulldogs for us 4 on the trot. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be a great contest, and hopefully this one will be on Sunday. Now, this one's a morning match, 11:10am on Sunday at Sullivan Logistics Stadium. This one's also live on Channel 7, East Perth and the West Coast Eagles. The Eagles fresh off the bye. East Perth with coming off what is a pretty interesting turnaround, about a 10-day turnaround before prior to this game from the Anzac Day clash they had against Perth. You know, no side can take the Eagles lightly on any day. I mean, East Fremantle found that out a couple of weeks ago. East Perth should not be taking the Eagles lightly, even though the Eagles, they've been hammered more constantly.
Absolutely. I don't think this game is 100%. You only have to look at East Fremantle, West Coast, and, on paper and, first instinct, East Perth should win this convincingly. But you never know. And, East Perth would not want to take them lightly. They want to stamp their authority and, win this game, but also potentially use it as a percentage booster if they can.
Well, East Perth would love to use it as a percentage booster, and I reckon they will because, look at how their midfield and forward line has been firing and also, the depth down back as well. East Perth, I think, are a much more complete unit than maybe Peel Thunder and South Fremantle currently in that final 5. I mean, when you look at their consistency and their impact at all ends of the ground and how efficiently they use the football and how dominant they can be on any given time in the game, that's going to be such a key for East Perth on Sunday and also for the rest of the season.
And we talk about that midfield of Croden, Brayshaw, Schumacher, Jones, but I think guys like Amajuri, Tedesco, they really can go under the radar as well, and they can provide that flexibility up forward in the midfield. They can give a chop out. They're big bulls, those 2 guys I just mentioned. So, yeah, it's really, as much as we give credit to the AFL sort of calibre of players in that midfield, they've also got a strong tier of second players as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Good, strong tier of young talent that is absolutely pivotal for East Perth. From a West Coast Eagles point of view, I reckon they will find it tough. Again, they will find it tough, but they can show signs of competitiveness if Zane True keeps firing. I mean, he's been in terrific form, definitely the Eagles' best, but you also have the likes of Jermaine Jones, Jordan Baker, Harvey Johnston, and Harley Sparks that can really lift the side.
Yeah, spot on. True's ability in the midfield. I think there's a bit of frustration that he's not, he's continuing to do this sort of week after week and not being rewarded with an AFL call-up. So, yeah, he'll be looking to prove his case even more.
Is that the case with the frustration, or is that a sign maybe he wants to push even more in the games at WAFL level and try and push the side maybe to get a couple more wins on the board? There's always that double-edged sword when it comes to, the frustration out on the field from a player's point of view.
I think bit of both. Sometimes going out there and doing your thing can be the best way to deal with the frustration.
No doubt about it. Who wins?
East Perth.
East Perth for me as well to stay clear atop the ladder. That is all the big 5 games of round 6 in the WAFL season for 2024. And here's how you can support your team by winning big.
Win. Win. Almost a win. Win. It's win-win at the WAFL. Great footy, food and entertainment. Find out more at waffle.com.au.
Win-win WAFL in full swing. All 10 teams are back in action for round 6. And I tell you what, Ethan, it's an incredible round and no doubt a lot of fans will be going down to support their teams this weekend. all 5 games have huge implications.
Yeah, it's good to have all 5 back. Missed a little bit, albeit the competition's been great with the games and the buys, but to have all 5 games back, all teams back on the park, it's really exciting.
Ethan, have a great weekend in footy. I'll see you next week.
You too, have a great call.
Listeners, viewers, we'll see you next week as well. Tuesday, we'll recap round 6, and of course, Thursday, we look ahead to round 7. Another exciting weekend of football. We'll also give you a bit of a chat on the potential state team as well, because the state game will be coming up very, very soon, May 19 at Optus Stadium, Western Australia and South Australia. In the meantime, have a great weekend in footy. Check us out on YouTube and on wherever you get your podcast and on our socials. See you soon.